Good morning, everyone. My name is Dolores Adams. I am the Director of Procurement for the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority. We are here today for the pre-bid of for IFB 2020-09, the demolition of Lincoln Park Phase 2. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. And we do have a fairly large group, but I always like to know who's in the room with me so we can go around and do our introductions. And I will start with who I see on my screen first. So I'll call your names. Pless Jones.
How you doing? My name is Pless Jones. I'm with P&J Contracting, a minority demolition company based out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Harry Judy.
Harry Judy, Waco Demolition, out of Chesapeake, Virginia.
Okay. Chris.
Chris Alonis, Demolition Services, Culpeper, Virginia.
Philip.
This is Philip Page with Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority.
Paul.
Paul Thomas with Applied Laboratory Services. We conducted the hazmat inspection and prepared the specifications, and we'll be conducting oversight during the project.
Greg.
I'm Greg Dubler with Pannoni, site civil engineer.
Bruce.
Bruce Zickafus with RJ Smith Companies out of Richmond, Virginia.
Morris. Okay.
Yeah, Morris Cephas Next Demolition Services, Richmond, Virginia.
All right. Bob.
I'm Bob Stone, architect with the prime designer for the project.
Shepries.
Jacqueline Crandall, job developer with Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority FSS program.
Mr. Gowda. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Aniki Group.
See you now. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
RJ Gowda, Aniki Group, Norfolk, Virginia, demolition contractor.
Okay, thank you. Chris. Butch. Hi, Butch. Are you there? Your phone. You may be on mute. You might have to unmute yourself. We'll come back. Someone has a phone number, 818. Hello, 2797. You want to introduce yourself?
Rodney Purvis, maintenance supervisor for Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority.
Hi, Rodney. Val.
Good morning, Valzenia Jenkins, Director of Housing Management.
Sandeep Murphy. Hello, are you there? Hello? Frank?
Start marking it up. There are questions you got directly to him.
Frank?
No questions wrong.
Okay, well, we missed Hello? So, well, did I miss anyone that's on that I did not call?
Yes, Dolores. You miss me.
Oh. These places on me, Ardell. Please introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Ardell Wright Scott, property manager for Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing.
Okay. Did I miss anyone else? Okay, well now we know who's in this virtual room with us, and we can get started. A housekeeping thing: if you're not speaking, we ask that you mute your phone so that we won't have the feedback in the background. So anyone that's not speaking, please mute your phone. You can unmute if you have a question. And I want to remind you all that for IFBs, we do request that you give us any questions that are directly of substance. Give them to us in writing, even if we may discuss it on this line, on this call. We still need to have it in writing so that we can make it part of an addendum that we can send out to everyone. Okay, so thank you all for muting your lines. Appreciate it. So what I want to do is oh wow, I got dropped.
So, you want it back?
Yeah. Come on. I mean, I'm just waiting. I don't know what's going on. Plus Jones out of Baltimore.
Hey, Chris, hi, Lunas. I just want to let you know you're not muted.
You're not.
I think we may have lost Dolores. She should be back hopefully in a minute.
Hello, this is Philip Page with Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority. It does look like Dolores is zoned out. While she resolves that, I wondered if we could go a little bit out of order. Dolores was going to start just with the intro and talk about some of the housekeeping and detailed items. But Bob Stern, did you want to go ahead and start with the demo specs and drawings and maybe start the review of that? Bob, you're muted. There you go.
Sure, okay. The plans and specs for the demolition are in the under city review. They have some comments we're working on resolving. The project essentially is the phase 2 demolition of Lincoln Park. I think there's 18 apartment structures, site elements, paving, vegetation removal, again, roads, parking lots. That work is shown, fairly clearly in the site drawings prepared by Greg Dubler's group, Panoni. We have one of the drawings indicates the general nature of the structures. The structures are two-story, have a concrete second floor frame, masonry, CMU walls with brick, partial brick, partial painted CMU exteriors. The roof framing is wood with, shingle roofs. The abatement part, as described in the included specifications prepared by Paul Thomas and Applied Labs, that work would need to be done prior to starting the remainder of demolition. But his specs cover those aspects of the project, and again, it's a fairly straightforward, complete demolition of the site. The site drawings do indicate minor adjustments at the completion to ensure proper drainage while at the conclusion of the project. That's a fairly standard complete site demolition. I think that's.
Thank you, Bob, because I got dropped out of my own meeting. So thank you for going on. You gotta love technology. So any questions for Bob on the demolition specifications and plans? Okay, well, I want to what I was gonna say before I was so rudely interrupted by getting dropped is this is a Davis-Bacon job. So we did include the Davis-Bacon wage rates. That means that there will be certified payroll, and you will have to, so if you do not have your program as part of the forms as part of your payroll program, you will have to use the HUD forms. We also will require that you will have to fill out our actual pay request forms. We use the HUD forms for that. If you need any help with that, we do have a young lady in our office, Miss Lynette Blow, that works with our payrolls and the pay requests and all our Davis-Bacon related functions. And we will be doing HUD 11 interviews. So make sure you make your workers aware that HUD 11 interviews will be done as part of this job, and that the wage rates have to be posted. So the wage rate should have been part of the package, so please ensure you use them when you are putting together your proposal, your bid for the demolition services. In addition to that, because we are federally funded, we do have to abide by the Section 3 requirements, which state to the greatest extent feasible. If you're going to have new hires or training opportunities as a result of receiving this contract, we ask that you contact our job developer, Ms. Chucky's Crandall, who's on the call, and provide her with a copy of a job description or at least a list of qualifications that you require, and give us an opportunity to provide you with some low-income residents that could meet those qualifications. That is a requirement not only for the prime, but also for any subcontractors that are part of this job. So keep that in mind if you anticipate having any new hires as a result of this contract. So when I was gone and on the internet somewhere, Paul, did you get a chance to go over the abatement specifications?
No, I haven't. I can go over those right now if you'd like.
Yes, and tell them what type of environmental concerns are there.
Okay. Part of the project, of course, is dealing with some hazardous materials, asbestos being the main item there. I can refer you to the specification as far as the asbestos abatement, page 2 lists out the materials. all the materials that we are dealing with here are non-friable asbestos-containing materials. There's no friable materials identified. We've laid out those materials, what our recommended abatement process is. You will be required to provide a submittal with an abatement plan if you're awarded the project. The big item within here is we identified asbestos coating on the CMU block filler in the interior of the buildings. Those CMU blocks will not be able to be recycled. They will have to be demolished and disposed of as non-friable asbestos waste. With that, I know a question a lot of people typically have, can you still recycle the brick? Yes. The outside brick can be peeled off and recycled. You can recycle any materials that you feel beneficial to the project that does not contain asbestos. With that, if we come across something that wasn't identified, then we will be on site. There will be a project monitor on site during this duration, and that will be addressed accordingly. This is very similar to the phase 1 of this project out there as far as materials identified. So we don't really anticipate running into anything additional. And if anybody has any questions with regards to hazardous materials, feel free to ask or to submit it in writing, to Portsmouth Redevelopment, and we'll get them answered. So, but if anybody has any questions right now, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Wonderful. That means no questions.
No. Are you all requiring the GC to have an asbestos abatement license?
Yes. Yes, you must have. There are asbestos-containing materials that need to be removed. So, no, let me rephrase that. The GC does not have to have an asbestos abatement license, but they must have. They must meet the submittal requirements. Whether you have a subcontractor handling your asbestos-containing materials, if that's your intention is to use a subcontractor to do that, they must have be an asbestos license abatement contractor in Virginia. If you have, for example, if your intention is to do the demolition yourself, then your operators must conform to the OSHA requirements, as far as appropriate OSHA training, awareness training associated with the asbestos, and have the capabilities to dispose of the materials. So,
thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? So next, Philip will discuss our special terms and conditions.
Hello, everyone. The special conditions are included in the bid package. I think it starts on page 92. I'm just going to highlight several of the items, just that I hate to say are more important, but certainly things that are just worthy of note. Item number 5, the time of completion. The job is expected to be completed within 150 calendar days from the notice to proceed. Item number 6 in the special conditions are liquidated damages, which of course existed there, $125 a day. Jumping to item number 9, this job will require certified payrolls. So certified weekly payroll listings showing the individual employee pay amount for each subcontractor and contractor are going to be required. And of course, that's weekly. Jumping to item number 11, temporary facilities. Just wanted to highlight that, as always, there's the requirement to provide and maintain barricades, but I think the maintenance of the barricade is what I just want to stress that will need to happen, obviously, throughout the duration of the project. Item number 12 is coordination. The item just says the contractor shall coordinate construction with the authority, which is of course right. The one thing that I don't know that we've mentioned is that what we're calling the Lincoln Park site is really 2 phases. The Lincoln Park was the previous structure that existed Half of that, or phase one, has already been demolished, and construction right now and through the duration of this project is happening on phase one. So there is active construction at phase one, and there will need to be maybe a heightened sensitivity to the coordination with the authority because there's another contractor on roughly half the site. So coordination is going to be important, and just wanted to point that out. Item number 16, examination of the site. Normally, we would do a walkthrough, obviously, of the site, potentially even have this meeting that we're having now on site. Obviously, this is happening virtually, but the site is available for, drive-bys, or if you want to actually physically locate the site yourself, that site is there. We will do a virtual walkthrough after this portion, and I'll just show a short video of this site, but the site can be examined. Item number 17, permits and fees. Of course, all permits are going to be required and will be the responsibility of the contractor. Item 20, working hours. The working hours are listed 7:45 to 4:15 p.m. The only holidays I think that may be impacted, Independence Day and Labor Day, and so we'll just need notice if you want to work through that or not. Just wanted to point that out. Item number 24, contract documents and drawings. As Bob Stearns said previously, you have the drawings in your bid packet, but they are being reviewed by the city. So we expect that there will be some, just minor comments that we'll have to adjust for. And so just know that you'll be receiving, obviously updated drawings, and we'll provide those to you, and those will rule. Jumping to item 26, subcontractors. I think we all know, and just wanted to point out that contractors, of course, responsible for making its subcontractors aware of everything that's going on. Sorry. As well as just all of the information that's spread down, all the appropriate licenses, as we've talked about in the answer in the previous section. 27, item 27, existing structures and equipment. Of course, the plans have been done recent. Obviously we stand behind those, but they are not guaranteed, and they are not to override what's verified in the field. So there is the responsibility to make verification in the field. Item number 32, removal of rubbish. It is important that we maintain a clean site. I think it's always important. We, as a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Virginia, have maybe a little bit more sensitivity to that. That will be an issue in the community with the city of Portsmouth. So it is highly important that the site remain clean on a daily basis, continuously. I'm going to jump to item 36, supervision of the job. We will need, of course, someone that represents the contractor or foreman who's competent, who we can have access to and who's on the job at all times. And we want to make sure that that's maintained. And then the last thing is item 40, insurance. Dolores, I don't know if you wanted to mention that. Were you going to mention that later, or do we need to list that?
Oh, we just that they pay attention to that, because the insurance, these are the insurances that are required as part of the job. And we do want to state also that if you're the successful bidder, once you receive the site, you are responsible for security of the site. It belongs to you, and you have to make sure that it stays secure during that time period.
Great. Thank you. So that's the review of the special conditions. Of course, that's in your packet. The next item that we were going to do is just the virtual walkthrough. Are we ready for that, Dolores?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to attempt to do is,
are there any questions before we move on to that? Okay. Very good.
So what I'm going to attempt to do is just share my screen and show a quick video. It's just 6 minutes. This is to act in lieu of us actually walking the site. It's narrated by Bob Stern, but it's in the video. So again, it's just 6 minutes, and we'll go ahead and start there.
Oh, wait.
Good morning. This is Bob Stern, architect. We're going to do a video walkthrough of the Lexington Phase 2 demolition project to give you guys a sense of the scope of work. We're starting here at Columbus Street. We're walking past some of the typical units to be demolished. They generally consist of painted CMU and brick siding exteriors, wood framed roofs, some steel columns supporting porch roofs. Kind of see here that the sidewalks are concrete, the streets are concrete. However, the parking areas are typically asphalt, or at least asphalt overlaid. Right now we're looking at a parking area that adjoins neighboring property. There's a metal decorative fence that will remain. Just kind of continue down Columbus that loops around. You see the adjacent phase 1 construction is underway. We're in the back where we see several large trees. There's metal clothesline supports to be removed. Electrical typically is fed from the rear of the buildings. We'll go into a typical unit. The interior of the units are typically painted CMU. The structure, second floor, is poured concrete. Sample of a water heater and heat pump unit. Remains of the kitchen cabinets. The majority of the units have been boarded up, of course, and these units have been vacant for some time. Here you can see the wood roof framing where the soffit has been pulled away. This is another parking area. These are the units that at the perimeter site along Graham. Again, we can see the perimeter metal, decorative metal fence. We're walking along Graham. We can see the public sidewalk and the units that face the exterior of the property. Again, this is a public street. There's other residences on the other side of the street.
All right, that's the end of the video. That's our virtual walkthrough. I think we're back, unless there are any. I guess I would just stress two things. One, we'll of course like to have questions in writing to respond to every. I'm sorry, I've got.
Sorry, my mic. Could you mute their mic? We're having some feedback for our outside conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, Delores, I was just saying that we wanted to make sure that we had questions in writing as it relates to the site, excuse me, the walkthrough and anything you've seen. The other thing is, I think I just wanted to point out that that video that you saw was maybe about 3 weeks old. And so the construction at the adjacent site, of course, has advanced from there and will continue on. That's it, Delores, from my side.
Thanks, Philip. Any other questions before we move on?
Yeah, will that video be provided? Can we get a Dropbox of the video?
What we're going to do, that was where I was headed. So thank you for introducing it, Mr. Jones. We are actually going to post a link to the video. After this meeting, we will post the recording of this pre-bid conference, a link to the recording on the PRHA website and on EVA. And we will also post the video, a link to the video on both of those sites so that you can review both of these things after this meeting. It probably won't be posted until next week, but we will have them up, and I will actually send out an addendum stating when they are posted so everyone will know. And the addendum will include the links. So if you get your questions in over the weekend or by early next week, then you will have an opportunity to get them answered as part of that addendum, if you have any. But as Philip said, you can, if you want to take a drive through of the site, you can do that. You just need to be aware that the other portion is a construction site. Are there any further questions? I want to give people a chance to unmute. Did I hear it? Okay.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Stay safe.
Thanks, Dolores. Take care.
All right.
Have a good
Thank you all,
weekend.
Paul, Greg, Bob, and Philip.
Have a good weekend.
All right.
Yeah, X out of it, they're still on there.
Thank you.
Why not?